So if you've been watching me live stream Dark Souls, then this is going to be a little bit remedial, maybe, maybe not. This is something that I've wanted to do for a while. When I first started doing this, I really didn't realize Twitch didn't hold on to videos forever. And so the first part of my Dark Souls blind casual playthrough was lost forever. And I started a playlist on YouTube and I've been archiving the videos there. And I've wanted to go back since then and just kind of re-record a part one. And now that I kind of have more than a handle on a game, more of a handle on the game, I'm also interested to see. Well, I mean, I've started a couple of other characters since then, so I've gone through the starting areas a couple of times. So I figured I would go back and take a run up to the gargoyles and see how well I could accomplish that, pretty much filling in the origin of my character Angrar, whose name changed partway through because of a restart. And so I'm going to go ahead and just bleh. I lost what I was doing. Okay. So this is pretty much how I started. Dark Souls was with a bandit. I guess I will be making a bandit. A bandit named Angrar. Way back when I was younger, more innocent. I don't remember what I went with. Let's go with the Great Swamp guy.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark.
Paper and plastic. Cats and dogs. Captain and Tennille. Isn't this the opening to the Thriller video? So the souls of the lords were just kind of sitting there in the fire?
Nito, the first of the dead.
Remember in the 80s when we used to say everything was Nito? That's all I can think of every time they say his name.
The Witch of Asylum and her daughters of chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights.
Man, that is a scraggly, like, thin-looking beard that I wouldn't want anywhere near that fire.
So easily forgotten.
I always forget that guy.
With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons.
Who were everlasting and therefore guaranteed to win.
Mighty bolts peeled apart their stone scales. witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath
It's kind of more of a long-term plan, huh?
and the dragons were no more.
I get the feeling that the whole story with Seath the Scaleless is kind of basically Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, where all of the other dragons made fun of him because he didn't have scales, and instead of guiding Santa's sleigh, he decided to betray them to the gods of humanity so they would be destroyed forever. Which admittedly would have made Rudolph a much better Christmas special. Would have taught a more valuable lesson.
And only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights.
This must be Alaska.
And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark sign.
You know, I can't... The whole design of the dark sign thing, I wonder if, like... Because it looks so much like a coffee ring. It was like the designer, the art designer was, like, strapped for time. He was like, and then they're going to have this symbol. Well, what symbol? Well, this ring, the dark sign. It'll be on fire.
Yes, indeed. The dark sign.
That's such a weird segue that she goes, yes, indeed. Coming from nothing, leading into nothing.
And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north.
By undead cowboys.
Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
That's going to be a pretty boring game, then. Press X to wait until the end of the world. Oh, great. A roommate. I was so happy I had the room to myself. Sorry, I dropped my... Can you toss that back up to me? Okay. Well, at least the pilot is still lit. And so here we are in the Undead Asylum, where you begin your adventure. As the game sort of explained, you are undead, which means every time you die, you come back to life. And so the undead, because they can't be killed, they are led off to this basically tutorial area where they learn how to play the game, and then they languish for all eternity. And one of the things that seems to become apparent later is that eventually, after many cycles of being reborn after death, you go insane. You go. I think that's what going hollow refers to. Is that you eventually lose your mind and you lose your humanity and you're completely dead. Currently I have a very nice set of armor, and I have to admit the only reason I chose the bandit to begin with was because I liked the look of the armor, and I'm equipped with a broken sword. Bonfires become your respawn point, and also the menu throughout the rest of the game. There's a couple of different things that you can do at bonfires that sort of become that you sort of unlock during the game, depending on different options you pick up, different items you pick up, etc. So these, whoops. And that is the last time the game will give you direct instructions. The game pretty much just wants you to run away from that guy so that you see him and get terrified and run. Those orange things, if you've never played Dark Souls, those are basically messages. These ones are left by the game designers as tutorials, but later on they're left by other players playing the game alongside of you. There's an NPC that you meet a little later on who kind of suggests... I don't know, it sounds something like parallel worlds where different players are playing in different universes from you, and occasionally those universes are getting close to yours so you can see and hear what's going on in them. And this becomes part of the multiplayer of the game, which I really didn't do much of in my initial playthrough because I really didn't work it out. Oh. I'm not used to using the axe. I'm used to using a longer reach weapon, so that was a little embarrassing. You periodically encounter this white light throughout the game, which separates different areas of the game. It does a couple of things. In some places, it signals bosses that are coming up. In other places, it separates the game into different zones for the use of multiplayer, so that if you enter another player's game, or another player invades your game, you're kind of corralled into certain spots. This is the first experience in the game with shortcutting, which is something that the game does quite a lot. You frequently find unlock paths that lead back to earlier areas. And this is a trap, which you only have to fall prey to about 4 or 5 times before you learn that it's there.
Oh, you're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, I have failed in my...
Someday, I'm gonna have the guts to say no to him and find out what
There's
happens.
an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen. And thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite. Oh, and this. Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
Now, one interesting thing, and I don't know for sure, but this guy, see that hole up in the ceiling up there? He looks kind of like the guy who dropped the dude with the key into my cell. I have a suspicion that they're the same person, and that he let me out on purpose because of that ancient family prophecy. And basically, the ancient family prophecy has, as far as I know, up to, like I said, I've gotten to Sen's Fortress. And as far as I know, that's kind of the driving force of the game, is to go ring this bell, and the game is unclear as to why you want to do that. There's an archer over there if you get a little too cocky. This area teaches you a couple of important skills. One of the most important is Always keep your shield up when you don't know where you're going, when you don't know what's around the corner. And this guy is, I think there was a message here. Yeah, this guy teaches you how to parry, which is something I've never quite gotten the timing down on. Or the distance, apparently. Nope. We'll give it one more try. I got it. And if you do get it, you get this really cool critical attack. You can also get critical attacks if you manage to attack opponents directly from behind. So, there's that. And then there's another one of these walls of light. And this one actually signals a return, a boss, and a return to this guy. And this actually teaches a valuable lesson, too, about how tough plunging attacks are. That is, if you can get the drop on an opponent, you do a massive amount of damage. You actually can, like, the first time whoa, oops. I kind of missed the dodge there. The first time I played this, I kind of assumed that you couldn't block... Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, I don't know what happened to me. I kind of assumed that you couldn't block this dude's attacks. Which is most certainly not true. Yeah, I'm making a horrible showing of this. The timing on my rolls is all off. Alright, just hack you to bits. That was a pretty pathetic showing. I don't know. So anyway, the Estus flasks that guy gave me, those are basically flasks of healing potion. It has 5 charges when you start and is refilled every time you sleep or rest at a bonfire. Later on, you get the ability to fill it with 10 charges, and to also increase the amount of healing it gives you. Anyway, having defeated the Guardian of Undead Asylum, if you look around out here, you find these souls. Souls are both the currency and the experience points in this game. That thing that I just picked up is a container. You can break it open and it's got a whole bunch of souls in it. And this thing...
Give me warm. Give me soft.
I have no idea what that is or what it wants, so whatever. Still haven't figured it out. Might become apparent later. Who the hell knows? The other thing I picked up when I killed the boss was humanity. And
Legends, it is
I'm still not entirely 100% sure what humanity is.
be chosen.
Oh, wait.
To leave the Undead Asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lord.
I still object to you referring to this as a pilgrimage. Basically being kidnapped by a giant bird is not really a pilgrimage in the traditional sense. Anyway, humanity. So, humanity is another collectible sort of currency in the game, which you can use for a number of things. You can use it to turn back to human, because right now I'm actually undead. Except apparently I'm still undead even if I'm human, I just don't look as undead. You can also use it to increase the potency of bonfires by spending it. And also to interact with other players, you need humanity to interact with the multiplayer features. And leveling up. Now I'm leveling up my stats the same way I did the first time, because I'm pushing to use a halberd and a short bow. And this NPC dude.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first. But there's no...
You're not the first one to be scammed into this game.
Better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are, actually, 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happened. Brilliant, right?
I have no idea why that first NPC didn't just say that there were 2 bells. Why they withheld that. It only took a few minutes to get that revelation. It's not major. I don't understand why they withheld that information in the first.
Ah, your face.
Now, the other thing that the game doesn't really tell you is that if you keep talking to an NPC, they'll generally keep giving you more information until they hit a point where they start repeating themselves. But then if you walk away and come back, they'll give you more information. They seem to be... Their information changes depending on plot points or on exploring certain areas, at least as near as I can tell.
And the quickest way, although I'd never do it, is to kill a healthy undead and pillage its humanity. Coveting thy neighbor is only human, after all.
Now, one of the things that I'm fairly sure about is that pretty much everyone you meet in this game is an undead like you. Like, I'm pretty sure that dude is undead. I think everyone is. But I don't know. This lady is the Firekeeper. I'm not sure the significance of that. She can't talk. What I do know is that she's keeping that bonfire above her lit. An event will happen later on that makes that abundantly clear. And before you try to find your way any further into the game, it is really worth your time to explore this area. Firelink Shrine is kind of the hub of the game. It connects to a lot of different areas. You end up wandering back through it. And later on, as you meet more and more NPCs, they kind of end up here. I almost walked right off that edge. So they all sort of start hanging out and wandering in here and leaving again. Again, more souls. These guys, I think these are the undead who have died so many times that they have lost their mind completely. Now down here, I don't think I found this guy the first time around. I didn't find him till much later. But he's actually a blacksmith that'll, that will help you reinforce your... or help you level up your equipment.
I'm Rickett of Vinheim. I was once an established smith, though.
Everybody in this game who introduces themselves with where they're from, which is neat. It helps imply that there's this whole world outside this game. Especially because there seem to be some appearance, you know, sort of commonalities in appearance, which you could see in the character generation screen. The default faces seem to be based on different areas of the world. Like, I think I ended up with the face of someone from the Great Swamp. Which, again, don't know much about it, but I think the Great Swamp is, it was where pyromancy or fire magic was discovered, except an NPC later on seems to imply that the fire magic is also sort of a nature magic. This, when I started the game, when you start the game, you get the choice of a boon, and I took a thing called the Master Key. The first time I played the game, I took it because the chat room here suggested that I take it. And it basically lets you open some optional doors early. So I like to just pop open that door, grab that soul item for leveling up, and then just take it. And I guess I had kind of implied that I wanted to do this with some speed, but honestly, I'm trying to make sure that I have the stats for the weapon I want to use through the game, and it takes a little while to find it. So we'll stick with the battle axe for now, but I'm going to make sure that I level up a bit. The transient curse item is something that taught me the value of reading the item descriptions in this game. Because later on, if you keep watching the future parts, I get cursed. And being cursed in this game is awful. And there's only a couple of ways to get rid of it. And the transient curse item actually helps you figure out one of the ways that you might do it, sort of. And I kind of ended up getting led astray by that. But even so, the lesson I took away from that was always read the item descriptions. So, actually what happened was, when you're cursed, you can interact with ghosts, which you normally can't. And I had found an area that was filled with ghosts. So when I got the curse, and discovered that I could go fight those ghosts, I figured that might be the way to break the curse, and went down and started exploring. Alright, so now we're going to break open... Well, I'm actually going to grab just a few more little soul items that are floating around. Like I said, it's really to your benefit to explore this whole area before you get into the game proper.
Hello there. I believe we are...
I kind of hate this guy.
I am Petrus of Thurland.
He seems like a total jerk.
I'd prefer to keep a distance, if possible.
I don't know what plot significance he has, but if you play a cleric, he sells you cleric spells.
I also want you to know that it is not...
And honestly, the thing with this game too is that your starting class doesn't seem to matter very much, apart from setting your initial stats, which will determine what equipment and spells and things you can use. But you can level up in pretty much any direction you want.
I have to await my companions here anyway.
Now that ghostly figure standing next to me is the ghost of another player who happens to be standing in the same place in their game. And you run into those a lot.
Very well. Then first, a covenant with the gods.
Now I don't actually want to join this guy's covenant. That
is a shame. But each to their own.
Not entirely sure what his covenant is. I think it's something called the Way of the White. I started a playthrough as a cleric, and I've been playing as a member of the Brotherhood of Sunlight, which I kind of lucked into figuring out how to join. So, and that one seems to focus mainly on going into other people's games and helping them beat hard areas and beat bosses, which is something I've been doing a lot of in my other playthrough. Basically my main playthrough that this is the start of, only not really. This is a retake of the start of. Is Blind. I've never played this game before, and I had never played this game before when I started it. And now I've only gotten as far as I've gotten, which is Sen's Fortress. So the other character I'm running, the cleric, is lagging just behind so that I don't ruin any surprises. And I've been using my cleric more to kind of clean up after my my main playthrough and just kind of spot the stuff I've been missing and explore in more detail and, you know, just kind of relax and enjoy the game. Alright, so now I'm gonna break open all these souls and level up a bit. And then we'll get into the game proper. Now, the other interesting thing about the game is that your actual stats... did I get them all? Yeah, I got them all. Your actual stats don't seem to matter as much. Your equipment seems to have a bigger role in how powerful you are. But certain stats definitely have more advantage than others. Like, one of the things I kind of stumbled on is, in the upper left-hand corner, you see my health meter, which is the red meter. And you also see that stamina meter that I have, which, you know, that's how many actions you can take. And it regenerates when you're not doing anything. That's that back attack that I was talking about. But the bigger your stamina meter, the more actions you can get in. Also, when you take a hit against your shield, it seems to be converted to stamina damage. And as long as you get through it with enough stamina, you'll deflect, you know, you'll avoid some of the damage. Shields seem to be rated in terms of how much actual damage they can absorb, and they'll let the rest spill through as hit points. I tried to do a back step there, but the other thing endurance determines is how much you can carry before you start to slow down. And there is definitely, I feel that I like to play as an agile character. I have more luck kind of dodging around the opponents. But the more equipment you have equipped, not necessarily what you have carried, but the more that you have equipped, the slower you go, and the more slow and awkward your rolling, that your little dodge roll thing is. So I've got kind of I'm not as fast as I could be right now. But that's because the bandit is a little bit... The bandit's armor is a little bit heavier than some. The cleric starts with really light armor and can really just run circles around people. So this is really the transition into the first area of the game. You have the tutorial area, and then obviously Firelink is sort of a hub, and now you're entering the first real area of the game. And the game is already starting to teach you a few things. It wants you to first of all, it wants you to understand that you need to really pay attention to your surroundings. And in fact, that first encounter on the stairs that I had, I should have mentioned it while I was doing it. But that first encounter that I had climbing the stairs up to the aqueduct is really well designed to kind of, if you rush into it without knowing what you're doing... Whoops. I forgot that guy was behind me. You get screwed in a lot of ways. Like, you don't realize that guy is above you throwing fire. So if you run forward to engage the enemies, you'll get set on fire. If you run forward to stop the fire guy, the guy with the axe will come running out. So it's really trying to train you there. Like, you know, take time, survey your surroundings, keep your defenses up, and pick your attacks. The other thing is that this game loves to hide stuff off the main path. Like this little area here that I dropped down into. Being a consummate lover of exploration games, the Metroid games are like some of my favorite games. I have the instinct of clearing a map. So I actually did discover a lot of this stuff on my own. As a general rule, I've been trying to avoid spoilers and maps and wikis and things. So everything I'm saying now is basically come out of my own experience. The only thing I did sort of look up was what humanity actually does and how the multiplayer works. So, this game is a game that rewards memorization and practice. Having played through this area a number of times now, I got to know it, I know what's coming, and I know where the enemies are, and that's... He did that just to prove that he could have taken me out if he wanted to. So here again, this is a spot where if you don't approach it with caution, I say as I get stabbed, you can really get screwed. If you go running out to engage that first guy, that second guy is already running up to engage you. The guy with the crossbow is already shooting at you. And if you manage to get far enough, that guy bursts out also. The sound design in this game is amazing. Like, I knew to move around to the side of that guy because I heard him cock and fire his crossbow. If you pay attention and listen carefully to the game, you know, again, just pay attention is the watchword, or watchwords. Yeah, a friend of mine in chat just mentioned that there was a dragon, and I didn't even comment on it. Yeah, the dragon will come back shortly. So, as far as I know, you can't actually run up and engage that dragon just yet. So the whole bonfire mechanic is really interesting. It's really an interesting way of rewarding progress. As you basically make a foray into an area until you can unlock a bonfire. Until you get to a bonfire, then you can rest and kind of explore the area from that bonfire by lighting it. Now, I actually consumed a little bit of humanity, and the reason I did that is because at a bonfire, you could do two things. One, you can become human again, like so, and two is you can kindle the bonfire. And kindling the bonfire increases the amount of charges you get for your healing flask from the bonfire. Now, you have to be careful once you're human. Trying to remember what to do here. So, once you're human, there's a couple of things that can happen, and it might come up at some point here. One of the things is that other players who are human can invade your world. And that means that they'll appear in your world as this red, scary phantom, and they can try and kill you. And if they manage to kill you, they get humanity and some souls out of it, and you get dead, just like you had died to anything else. The other thing is that later on, you get the capability of going into other people's games and helping them in hard areas or helping them fight bosses. Once again, one of the advantages of exploring everywhere. This guy is a merchant, and we'll come back and talk to him in a little bit once we have some money to spend. There's a surprise there. You can kind of see that my instinct is always to kind of circle around and avoid and, you know, play, work the footwork. Alright, so that glow that just enveloped my head, that means that someone playing the game kindled that bonfire. And when someone in the world kindles a bonfire, you get an extra charge for your Estus flask. I did not figure that out on my own. That was something that I stumbled upon while I was reading about the multiplayer. The multiplayer is actually really fascinating. There's a lot of indirect multiplayer stuff that happens. Like, you'll come to an area later on where there are certain creatures that can turn you to stone. And you'll run into statues of other people around. And I was reading that those statues are actually other people, other players who were turned to stone in their games. They show up as statues in your game. Whoops. So that whole thing I just did, that looped me back around to this spot. And notice that all of the enemies I killed while I was heading here have come back to life. That's one of the effects of the bonfire, is that you bring all of the enemies back to life, except certain enemies that don't respawn. So you can't, like, you have to get to the point where you can get through an area. You can't simply, chop a few enemies and then rest, chop a few enemies and then rest, chop a few enemies and then rest. You have to get good enough to actually progress to the next checkpoint, be it a bonfire or a boss or whatever. Now I'm gonna hit up the merchant, and hopefully I don't have to grind for souls here, because I won't do that. I'll just go without. But
then you are a welcome customer. I trade for
this guy
flowers,
sells a few
everything's
useful
for sale.
things. So, I can skip. If you have the master key, you don't need the residence key, because you can open up the same doors that it will open. I'm going to pick up a short bow, and I'm going to pick up a bunch of arrows. I'm going to have to pick up more arrows. But that's it. It is definitely, like, I've found having a ranged weapon is useful. Not so much, like, I don't level it up. I don't get good with the ranged weapon per se, but I definitely use it as a tool to pull aggro. One of the things is, if you can avoid it, you don't want to fight more than one thing at a time. The bow is also... Whoops. I have to actually equip the arrows, don't I? Yeah. Okay. So if you can avoid fighting multiple enemies at a time, you are always better off. If you can find a position to snipe enemies so that they can't hurt you, that's to your advantage. These guys will rain fire bombs. You know what? I shouldn't be doing this. Alright, so as you start walking across this bridge, those guys will start raining fire down upon you. Like so. And then when you get to the other side, you find you have a couple of friends. So you can't back away without getting set on fire. And then that third guy comes out the door. So, again, you know, it's... If you rush into a situation, you get yourself in trouble. But at the same time, in that particular spot, now the game has taught you, you know what, basically proceed slowly, move with caution. Oh, you had one more swing in you. I always fall for that. So the game teaches you proceed with caution, move slowly, keep your shield up, and then when you get onto that bridge, it punishes you for moving slowly. So. But of course, if you do look around at your surroundings, you'll actually see those snipers up above. You may not know what they're about, but you might have your guard up. So you always want to be looking around. You always want to be examining your surroundings. See, like I can see one of those snipers that was up there from here. And again, that's a good spot where I can snipe them with my bow if I want to. But we'll do this the old-fashioned battle axe-y kind of a way. Sorry. And of course, then if you take a second to look around, you might actually notice that you've got a buddy up on that tower there, which would be a crossbow sniper, who is waiting until you start to walk into the next spot to take you out. This is a door that opens with that key that merchant was selling, or if you have the master key from the start of the game, with that. Gold pine resin is a neat item. It adds elemental damage, electrical damage to your weapon for a brief period of time. It's a lot of fun, but it's hard to come by. And as near as I can tell, it's very effective against a lot of different enemies. But because it's so hard to come by, you get into this... You know, there's this attitude in video games that they train you for, that whole, but I might need it later, right? Like, I mean, you go back to the old Final Fantasy games, and by the end of the game, how many elixirs were you carrying? Because they were so valuable, you just didn't want to use them. And so you ended the game with a dozen of them, and you wouldn't use them because there might be something more important for you to use them on later. Alright, if you go down here, you know what? What the hell? Let's give it a try. I don't think I have any chance against this guy, but... So, this guy... This is a Black Knight. You run into a few of them throughout the game. I'm sure they have a story. Everything does. I don't know what it is. But they're pretty badass. But one of the things you really want to do, whenever you can, is to pick your battlefield. Ooh. The other thing you want to do is not drop your shield. Oh, I'm going to get stabbed. If you can avoid it. And don't heal unless the guy is delayed. Oh, he saw that roll coming and then... Yeah, note how I'm doing next to no damage again on this guy. And recovering just makes it worse. Damn it. I really want... I need to get a chance to just equip my... He's not going to give me a chance to equip my gold pine resin. Is he? If I could get around behind him... Damn it with the... I knew this was a mistake, but what the hell. Usually I face him after I've had a chance to level up my weapons a little bit. Oh! Back attack! Yeah, you felt that. Oh god, I didn't have enough time. Alright, let's go back up here. It is helpful to note he cannot climb ladders. So we can take a little bit of a break here. I could actually just cheese him now and just pick him off with arrows or something. Damn it, my plunging attack missed. That's that thing that the first boss taught me. Oh, I was close. Well, I mean, I wasn't close, but I damaged him. I think another run, if I had started with the gold pine resin, I think I could take him. So this is what happens when you die. When you die, you go back to the last bonfire that you rested at. Everything comes back to life, and you have no souls and no humanity, if you were carrying any. Which, honestly, at the beginning of the game, it really feels bad. Like, you really hate dying. But after you start to play it for a while, you just sort of kind of accept that it's part of the game. Especially because of the way, like, if I can make it back to the spot where I died, I can recover everything I lost. This guy, sometimes he hears you walking past the building and he will come out and wait for the perfect opportunity to kill you from behind. And if you see that glowing green blob, that's the stuff I dropped, my souls and humanity. Ooh, I didn't see you swinging in there. So now I recovered. At least I got my souls back. I got my humanity back. I'm half tempted to take another run at the Black Knight, with resin at the ready. It pisses me off that the enemies can use the healing flasks too. That seems like something only PCs should have. But Honestly, to tell the real truth, one of the things that I absolutely love about this game is that eventually you will run into an enemy that can do everything you can do. What the hell? Let's give it another shot, shall we? We're just here for fun. Where is my resin? It's not like I'm keeping this character and need to hold on to it. We'll get his attention. You know, with the traditional method of getting attention, which is an arrow to the back of the head. I got hung up on the stair terrain. And I'm going to wait for just a minute until we're... I like to fight him up here because I have plenty of room to move around. Wait until he does that so that I have enough time to apply it. Yeah, that was a good series of hits, huh? So after he does that long thrust attack, that's when he gives you just kind of a moment. So if you time your attacks to come in there, and also when he's far away, just because it takes him a little extra time to cover the distance. Oh yeah! Look at that! Hell yeah! I seriously didn't expect to win that. And he dropped a sword. I've never seen this sword before. Where is it? Which is too powerful for me to use. Down to the lower left here, you'd see the required ability scores. So I need strength of 20 and dexterity of 18, and I don't have that quite yet. That's okay. I'm glad that... I can't believe I beat him. That was cool. Oh, shoot. There's a... You're not... Yeah. I almost walked into that. A lot of the stats I still can't make sense of. Like, I'm not going to try and explain what all those weapon stats mean because I only kind of have a hazy notion myself. I recently started to notice just by playing with the level up screen. Oh, here's a thing that I found by accident. There's this little glowing guy, right? And if you manage to kill him, he drops this Titanite stuff that you can use to level up equipment. I wasn't obsessively killing or breaking barrels and boxes because for a long time I believed that there was nothing in any of them. Actually here. This is the thing. Here's another way that the game kind of gets your attention. So you don't realize that ladder is there. Okay, you walk out, you see the path in front of you. You walk out, you get shot in the back of the head by the archers. But in a moment, it's going to be really important that that ladder is there. Whoops. Assuming I don't get killed by archers. So the game kind of leads you... Oh, this is another neat thing too. Occasionally when a player dies, they'll leave a blood stain. And if you touch it, you can see their ghost play out the last few seconds of their life. This has actually saved my life once or twice because it's warned me about traps and things that were coming up. Meanwhile, here we are on the bridge, and you notice the Mystic Hobo signs. We're going to ignore that one. And don't know what that... Oh, hello! So this is the first real boss of the game. And the game by teaching you about the plunging attack in that first tutorial boss and leading you up to the... leading you to that ladder kind of gives you a hint as to... What the... Okay, I didn't know he could do that. I guess I took too long. I've never seen him do that. You're a hell of a jumper there, dude. Now, if you can roll at just the right moment, you're invincible. So we're going to try and lead him here. That was the wrong moment, which you can tell because my spine was broken. And we're going to see if I can make it without... Oh, damn. Okay. Yeah, man, I had no idea that he could jump up onto that tower. That completely screwed up my opening gambit. That is so funny. Because after that, I was just panicked. Because I rely so heavily on that first plunging attack. Who the hell knew, right? Alright, so here we are again. And this is why you get really good at these intervening areas. Where you start to know where everything is. And how to handle everything. Because you do them a couple dozen times. Nice jump. Sure. Oh, he moved before I could get him in the back. I really do love this game, and the reason that I've become more obsessive about playing it in the last couple of days, really, is that I really do want to play the sequel. But I don't want to play the sequel until I've beaten this. And I admit I got a late start with this game. But what can you do? Alright, we're going to handle the Taurus Demon more correctly this time. This is one of those spots where aggro management is really useful. If you just nudge forward just enough to get one of these swordsmen up at a time, they're a lot easier to deal with. And I find dealing with stuff in those narrow passages is really hard. These spear guys with the shields, very vulnerable to kicking. That guy... Whoa, I totally just forgot that guy was coming. I just, like, ran right into him, didn't I? It's like, no, just put your sword out and I will stab myself on it for your convenience. If you've enjoyed slaying me, please feel free to fill out a comment card. Alright, so we're going to do it right this time. I'm not going to waste time explaining. I'm going to get that first plunging attack. And just to hedge my bet, I'm going to go ahead and use more of that lightning rosin just to spare myself. The funny thing is, the first time I played this game, I managed to stumble through beating the Taurus Demon on the first try just by the plunging attack and then just by dodge rolling around him, avoiding his attacks. I can't get it to lock on. Damn it! Did he jump on me? My friggin' lock-on wasn't working. Alright. Yeah, see, I have experience with this, right? I'm good at this. This should just be an easy run right up to the gargoyles. I've done it so many times at this point. Yeah, yeah. You know, the thing, too, is that usually I buy the spear from that merchant guy and use the spear. I don't usually stick with the battle axe. Whoops. I'm having real trouble with the lock-on all of a sudden. Okay, do your thing. I don't know. All of a sudden, I'm losing it. Oh, man. Then I got hung up on the door. I hate the guy who throws the fire. I absolutely hate that guy. I forgot about the sniper, too. Okay, that's... I'm just losing it now. That's it. This is done with. See, I was... That's the problem, is I got cocky. Like, oh yeah, this will be easy. I'm not good enough at this game yet to claim that anything in it will be easy. Yeah, and I hear that guy coming down. But like I said, you pay attention to the sounds around you. You could hear that guy's footsteps coming. Alright, third time's the charm, right? We're not going to try and... Well, I don't have any lightning rosin left. I also haven't spent much time leveling up, not that that matters much. I'm not even sure what level I'm actually at right now. You jumped out of the way on purpose. One of the... if you haven't really played the game much yet, one of the other things teach yourself to do, definitely a skill worth having, learn how to drop your shield momentarily while circling enemies, because your stamina recovers much faster while your shield is down, and that can be a lifesaver. Even in that momentary pause after an enemy, makes their attack, and then... they have to recover to make the next one. Alright, I'm locked on. I'm above you. There we go. This is also one of those battles where the arena really just works against you. Oh, I did that without any stamina left. That was a mistake. Let's get the shield out. Unlock off of you and run. And we'll see if we can get another plunging attack in on you. Oh, you were really close, weren't you? I am fucked. too bad. I made it look good for a second there, didn't I? This is honestly getting embarrassing because I haven't had this much trouble with the tourist demon. I don't know what's off about me tonight. Like, I will fully admit that there are some bosses that my showing against was just abysmal. Try after try after try. Watch how many tries it takes me to handle the gargoyles, for example. Or certain other bosses coming later. But no healing. You just make the fight longer and you're still gonna lose. I ran out of stamina, didn't I? Let's not forget the sniper. That's another delightful thing that'll screw you over, is if you manage to clip a wall with your weapon, sometimes your weapon will bounce back and your attack won't have an effect. Which actually raises kind of an important thing about this game, which is when it comes to choosing a weapon, I have found that to some extent, forget the stats. I really want that sword guy to come up, because I know he was coming. Don't worry so much about the weapon's stats. Don't grab something just because it has higher damage. It's really the way the weapon moves, the way it swings, how fast it is, how far it reaches. Like, I absolutely love the long swords, and I love the halberds. They just both really suit my playstyle. The axes, the maces, these big, heavy, slow-swinging, powerful weapons just don't work for me as well. Alright. Got my stuff back. At least I keep getting my stuff back. Oh, jeez. I actually just rolled in the wrong direction. I don't... Maybe I'm overtired or something. Or maybe... I'm just gonna keep making excuses. Coming yet? There you are. Alright. Friend of mine was saying that he basically beats the tourist demon just by doing the plunging attack, running away, doing the plunging attack, running away, doing the plunging attack, running away. I actually have a lot of trouble getting a second plunging attack out of him. I generally tend to do it this way. Wait until he makes an attack, and then run up. Ooh. And then get killed. Damn it again. I'm getting backed up against... Here's another fun fact for you. You can fall right off. Ooh, I managed to... You can fall right off the bridge, which is basically instant death. I don't know why I decided to do a jump there, but that just cost me my lead on him, and I'm going to get knocked off the ladder. Ooh, wait, maybe not. Please have enough time to drink. Nope, don't come up. I'll come to you. It's cool. Oh, I didn't think he hit me. Alright, I just gotta wait for my opening here. I'm really close. There it was. Holy crap. So what was that, like 40 tries? Go me. And that's the first real boss of the game. Honestly, this re-record is actually a really accurate kind of depiction of my first playthrough, at least of the Taurus Demon. Not so much of the Undead Burg area. There was a lot of death leading up to the Taurus Demon, but yeah, there you have it. I may not get to the gargoyles in one run tonight. Oh. Anywho, so this dude is
hello.
one of the nicest NPCs in the game.
I am Soler of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight. Now that I am undead, I have come to this great land, the birthplace of Lord Gwyn, to seek my very own son. You find that strange? Well, you should. No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time.
Like, honestly, even that laugh at the end... Oh, I must have read the message.
Oh, aha. So
is not a creepy laugh like all the other undead have. It's sort of a... It's actually a genuine laugh.
In a land brimming with hollows, could that really be mere chance? So what do you say? Why not help one another on this lonely journey?
So if you agree to this, which I will do, he gives you the white soapstone, which you can then use to leave a mark on the ground that other players in the same area can use to summon you into their games, so that you can help them with bosses and stuff. And I, being so good at bosses like the Taurus Demon, obviously love to help people out. Oh, hello again. I'm going to run and hide. Yep. Remember him? So... yeah, that's... yeah, no comment there. That's the dragon. But this is the neat thing, too. I mentioned earlier about shortcutting in this game. And this is another good example of the game rewarding you with a shortcut back to a previous area. I'm actually going to save some souls. Yeah, that's good. And I am going to... I'm going to head back to that merchant for just a sec and pick up some extra arrows. Unless I've forgotten how to do this too. What happened? I was like on autopilot through this area before. To the right. He interrupted my swing. I was going to hit him first, but he got off his attack. These guys, I switch to the two-headed stance. You kick their shield away. Whoop. And then you kill them. Another, you know, like, another trick that's good to learn is when to switch to the two-headed stance and when not to. I talk like I know what I'm talking about, right? Like, here's a great pro tip from someone who takes 5 tries to beat the Taurus demon, which he's beat 12 times.
Oh, there you are. Still keeping your marble? Then go ahead. Never hurts to splurge when your days are numbered.
Anyway, I just need to get some extra arrows. Let's grab about... Yeah. You know what? That's fine. Whatever it is. I don't know why I'm overthinking this.
Thank
Good.
you kindly.
And the reason to grab the extra arrows... I'm going to show you in a sec. Those of you who know the game, do not panic. I'm not going to go all the way with this. I just want to demonstrate something because it's actually... Alright, so... Do I have enough for one more level here? Alright, let's do another point of strength. I would give you my perspective on what the stats mean, but again, my perspective is, I'm not quite sure. I just level up what seems appropriate. I did discover I'd been making some mistakes, though. So, okay. Trick number 1 is whenever you stick your head up here, if you run back down quick enough, you'll avoid the fire. But you get all of the souls, all of the XP from the undead who are on the bridge that the dragon just burned to death. If you really want to, you can keep going down to that shrine, down to that bonfire and recovering, and then doing it again. And you can farm souls that way. That's incredibly tedious. Eventually you get bored of that, and then you decide to move on. So you find this path under the dragon, because God knows you can't fight a dragon, trust me. But we're sneaking around underneath him. And this is where you start to learn about status effects. Notice every time the rats take a swing at me, there's that little purple meter that starts to fill up. They're trying to poison me. When that poison meter has built up to full, I will be poisoned and I will take continuous damage until it goes away. Now this is the normal way to continue past the dragon, as you can see. You guys... The dragon is on the other side of this gate. You can see his shadow there and no way through. But I'm going to show you how I got past the dragon the first time. Because I didn't actually go this route. And this is actually really helpful because it led to my cleric becoming awesome. So when I first played through here, in this spot was a Mystic Hobo sign that said Sniper Spot, and another one that said Try Tail. So I'm like, okay, let's give that a shot. It's a little bit tricky to time this. Now, whereupon the dragon lands on the bridge. Now, if you're crazy stupid, you could try to fight the dragon. But if you're not crazy stupid, you can just sprint in here. And sometimes the dragon will breathe fire into this room as kind of a parting shot. But then he leaves. Goodbye, dragon. Because obviously he was just hired to guard this room, and once he screwed that job up, He realized he was out of work and he left. He will occasionally return, but there you go. The nice thing about this, though, is that you can, number one, open this gate, and number two, you now have this bonfire up here with you. Now, a friend of mine pointed out that you can take this a step further. You can actually shoot the dragon's tail repeatedly until the tail flies off and rewards you with a special item. You can also, apparently, if you're willing to snipe it repeatedly long enough, and it takes a long time, you can apparently kill the dragon. I don't have the patience for that kind of crap. But I shouldn't have let you heal. But that is how I proceeded through this area called the Undead Burg. Or actually, I'm sorry, Undead Parish. It was funny because I got a friend of mine, actually my cousin, I got him started playing this game. And he didn't find getting past the dragon, whereas I didn't actually find that underbridge passage. So we were talking about it, and he was talking about how having to get past those poisonous rats every time to make a run all the way up was so annoying. And I'm like, well, just rest at that bonfire there. Alright, so now up ahead you can see something terrifying. That giant metallic monster. And again, this is one of those spots where it kind of teaches you to take your time and deal with one threat at a time. Because there was also a guy hiding off to the right. Whoops. I believe that sound was the dragon coming back. Okay. So now it's just me and that thing. And that thing happens to be a massive and extremely fast armored boar. Who can attack directly behind it. Now, the thing is weak against lightning. And if you get above it like I did here, and you have one of those gold pine rosins left, and you get lucky, you can actually do a plunging attack to start off, and then kind of as a series... Oh shit, I fell. I fell, and that's a disaster. Fortunately, he can't fit up here. Okay, so the way I fought him the first time, and admittedly it took numerous tries... Oh, where did you come from? I thought I had cleaned you guys out. Okay. I didn't realize there was another, swordy guy running around. That was not good. Okay. Well, whatever. Alright, so let's try that again. Alright, so now, again, draw things out slowly so that we're not dealing with too many threats at once. Oh yeah, there's that second swordy guy. I see him now. Sure. Kick and slash. Whoops. 2 hits didn't do it, huh? I always get surprised when they don't die. Like, I think I did exactly the right number of hits, and then they don't drop dead, and that completely ruins my tactics. And one of the major flaws in any plan is when the thing doesn't die when you had planned on it dying. It's a lucky thing my swing interrupted that guy. No, don't fall. Oh, great. Now he's just going to be coming back up here. And that time I heard him coming. Alright, now where's your buddy? Because there's one more guy unaccounted for. Oh, and he's doing the crossbow thing again, huh? Alright, can I get him with an arrow from up here? No, not without him being able to get me with a crossbow. Alright, fine. See. That worked. But you pick up this item, the alluring skull, and you read the item description and it explains how this lures certain monsters to it. Yeah. And there's two things you can do with this. You can use it to lure the boar directly under you so that you can do a good plunging attack. Or you can toss it into the fire there and lure the boar into the fire, whereupon he... Usually that hurts him a lot more. And now I missed. Alright, we may have to do this the hard way. There you go. Right in the fire. Go ahead. Go get that. Don't be afraid of fire. Fire won't hurt you. Go get the thingy. Oh god, I fell. I really wish I had some of that lightning stuff. Like, we can also lure... The thing is, you can also kind of lure him into the fires. I'm out of alluring skulls, aren't I? I fucked this up completely too, didn't I? Yes, I did, didn't I? Yep. Hit him with the fire bombs from here? Or am I really going to have to try and duel him doing like 8 points of damage as a pop? He is... Okay, good. He is highly resistant to physical damage. I don't feel ashamed about handling him that way at all. Like I said, the first time I did it, I had one of those gold pine rosins, and I used all those up to take out that Black Knight, didn't I? So then the way to proceed is down these stairs. Now, the interesting thing is that usually, when you come down here, you see just the one zombie standing in the hallway here. And he turns and runs away from you. And if you chase him, you run right into a pincer attack between two other zombies standing off to either side of that doorway. I don't know why they had all decided to expose themselves. It's actually a... Oh. Hello. Where did you come from? It's actually a really effective ambush. Later on in another area, there's a lot of rats that play the same game and try to lure you into all sorts of traps and problems. I don't know why I chose to drop my shield suddenly in the middle. Oh, missed something. You can actually walk on these beams, even though your feet aren't necessarily touching anything, but there you go. Oh. Huh, so that's what my knees look like from underneath. Anywho, so what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the ambushes. Yeah, no, the ambushes are neat. Her ambushes are neat. And other sparkling observations. This guy... Oh, this... Oh. That was a mistake. I didn't have a reach weapon. Again, I'm used to having a spear or a halberd, but... No, not the halberd by this point. But I usually bring the spear. So that I kind of have an advantage of being able to... Assuming you're not dumb enough to try and tackle that Black Knight like I did on your first try, or you realize that you're not supposed to be able to take him. These Black Knights are really the first, like, opponents that are sort of your equals. So, like, the stance he's in now is a parry stance, where if I attack him, he's going to do that parry riposte that I managed to show off just that one time. Man, I am not getting through at all. It doesn't help that I have the swinging weapon in these narrow halls. This is ugly. Now, interestingly, when he goes into the parry stance, one of the few things he can't block is a strong jumping attack. That thing. So if he goes into the parry stance, you can break his stance with that. This is taking me an awful lot to take this guy out, isn't it? There we go. Alright, that was also ugly, but at least I survived it. For the longest time in this game, I barely even looked at equipment as I picked it up, especially armor and shields. In fact, that becomes the subject of a fight with the chat a little in one of the future episodes, where I absolutely just refused to armor up to deal with a foe that I couldn't handle. Because I like the way the bandit armor looks, and I had fallen in love with the moveset of the halberd, which I'll be picking up very shortly. Now that's another one of those little life-saving messages from another player there, was that be wary of ambush. Because they're actually, the spear guy is off to the right of that passage, and that big knight is off to the left. And so you kind of walk into a pincer attack. And now, here we are. And as you walk past this door, this guy comes running out at you. And if you are enticed by the item directly in front of you, you won't notice him coming. Whoops, you got your shield up, didn't you? There you go. If you go running for this item, you won't notice him coming, and then he will stab you from behind as you pick it up. And now here we are. My favorite piece of equipment. I like the reach on it. I like the power of it. I like the move set. I like the thrusting attack. You never have trouble with it in narrow corridors. I like to use it two-handed. The only thing is my stamina is a little bit low, or my endurance is still a little low, so it's slowing me down a little more because it's heavy. Again, that warning sign warns me to watch out to the left. And I'm going to pull this guy outside so his friend standing in the back doesn't get involved. Because as long as you can just fight one thing at a time, you have the advantage. Now we'll fight this guy. Oh god, I attacked a little bit too early. One of my favorite things about the halberd is the reach advantage that it gives me. So, as an enemy is charging in, if you can put it out right in that moment where they lower their guard just before they attack, you have a major advantage. Now, I'm not going to trigger this trap because I don't want to go back through all that area, but we're just going to draw out that big sort of mini-boss guy. Get his attention with the universal greeting of arrow to the face. Oh, wait, that guy woke up. See, above you on the balcony, there is a wizard that shoots magic missiles at you. Ooh, I had run out of stamina. How is he moving so much faster than me? Am I really slowed down that much? Alright, I'm not... I gotta dodge roll. This guy just breaks right through your guard. Why am I also doing so... Oh, you had a second swing in you, you bastard. What's with the shield punch? Alright. Yeah. Calm down there. There we go. Alright, so there's that guy. And now we're going to stay out of the middle of the room to avoid Mr. Magic Missiles. And since I did actually bring a bow... we're going to do this the cheese way. Now, what I didn't realize until I played through this again with a character that didn't have a bow, is that these guys actually have a buffing attack, or a buffing effect. So they can boost enemies nearby. And you can't see it because it's off camera. But there is a whole horde of zombies up there with him. So when you go upstairs... Oh, did I back him away too far? Uh-oh. So when you go upstairs, you get attacked by a whole horde of zombies, all with buffed attacks. I'm not sure what the significance of Firekeeper Souls are lore-wise. What I do know is that they enable you to boost the amount of healing you get off your Estus flasks. I'll show you how in just a second, because we're gonna go and cover a few little odds and ends. I also love the dashing attack that this thing has. So if you use this at the end of a run, you get that overhand smash. And I'll show you my favorite... Oh, I killed that guy. Right. That guy's dead. Because this loops around back to the area where I came from. So you could approach the church from either spot. I like to approach it from the front, because if you approach it from this side, that big mace guy comes running out at you from the right. You're getting magic missiled from the left. And if you wander too far down the aisle, those big knights come at you, and suddenly it is an unmanageable disaster. Meanwhile, a little off the beaten path, again, because that guy at the beginning told me to climb to the top and ring the bell at the top of the church, so immediately I struck off away from the church, because my instincts to explore a whole area before I finished it led me to this place. And I kindle every bonfire I come across, because those 10 Estus flasks are just too good to give up. I also haven't figured it out why yet, but periodically you do seem to get some humanity. Your humanity meter in that thing in the upper left just starts ticking up. This guy is awesome. This guy, and I'm gonna eat my souls here, so that I have plenty of cash for him. Because this guy is the major blacksmith in the game that I've discovered so far. Not like that other guy down by the Firelink Shrine. And this guy will level up your equipment and sell you Titanite to help you level up your equipment. So we're going to go ahead and level the hell out of my halberd. And we're even going to buy enough. We're going to buy a bunch of Titanite to level it up all the way. As I said, leveling up your equipment seems to have a greater impact on the game than your stats do. And we're going to level up our armor a little bit too. And that's good.
Don't get yourself killed.
Alright. So, whoops, I need more souls to level. And I like to have a fully leveled up weapon at this point. That is up to +5. You can actually level it up more later by acquiring certain items called embers, which will let him level up your weapon more. And actually I discovered one that lets you add certain special effects. Like I made a holy weapon. And these white signs are left by other players who can come into my game and help me out, but we're going to leave them alone. I tend to play solo. The other thing we're going to do, and it is a good idea to do this as soon as you get to this spot, is activate this elevator, because this elevator is a fantastic shortcut. And it brings you back to the Firelink Shrine. And the reason to come back here, except for obviously an accessible bonfire with no enemies anywhere near it, is that Firekeeper lady will take your Firekeeper soul and improve the amount of healing that you get out of each flask. And at this point now, I'm getting close to where part 1 left off. So we're just going to go ahead and finish it up, I guess. Might as well stick it out for a few more minutes. Go back to where I was. Leveled up halberd in tow, reinforced Estus flask, and ready to go. Note the difference in with the leveled up halberd, that it was doing 1 to 200 points of damage. Also, something that you sort of notice as time goes on, if you chain attacks together, each subsequent attack does more damage than the previous one. So you actually can do more damage if you can do a string of attacks. Which is another reason why I tend to prefer faster weapons to slower, heavier weapons. I'm also surprised I haven't been invaded yet. Usually I get invaded. So invasion is when another player decides to try and come into your world and kill you for souls and humanity. And anytime you are human, as I am now, it can happen to you. Actually, that's not true. I think, don't quote... Oh shit, he parried me. I wasn't paying attention. I think you can't be invaded once you have killed the boss of an area. And again, this kind of plays into those... Oh. Here's one of those Mystic Hobo symbols cluing me in that there's something here. And this is actually... This dude is interesting, and I won't... I don't know. I don't know what his story is. But I like when I first encountered him, I made this joke because he says, I really appreciate that. Well, I'll let him say it because he's saying it right now.
And I guarantee a reward. Only later.
So, like, being the video gamer that I am, I figured, and I voiced the expectation that as soon as I opened the cell, he was going to give me a prize. And so I got snarky, and I'm like, you know, why do they always lock prisoners away with something valuable that they can offer to anyone who might rescue them? And then when I got in there, and he said, oh, I don't have anything for you, I'll give you something later, I complimented the game. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that makes more sense. But then I also kind of thought he was lying. I'm like, yeah, but I'll never see anything from him. But the fact is, a little bit later on, he does in fact give you a little trinket. Alright. And now we are approaching the boss of this area. And again, people leave their little marks here so that you can summon them to help you with the fight. This guy, which I didn't know, I'm actually going to summon him. What the hell? Alright, so this guy is actually an NPC. So that even if you're playing offline, you can have some of the experience of having Phantom summoned into your game. So this is actually that guy who gave me the white soapstone and told me to look out for him because he would help me. Now I'm giving this exactly one shot because in part 2 I actually do beat the boss. So part 1 I kind of left it off with the boss unbeaten. But if I do manage to take him out, yeah, that'll be cool. Such an awesome intro though, and I love this guy's design. I love the bell gargoyle. I don't like the incredible reach he has, but actually Solaire seems to be Now, you may notice that a second gargoyle has joined the... Wow, Solaire really does make a difference, though, huh? A second gargoyle has joined the fight, whose flame breath I rolled right into. Once you get the first gargoyle down to half hit points, the second gargoyle comes in. Which is quite the surprise, to be totally honest. You're not expecting it, and it just... It just kind of sets the tone for everything that is to come, the way that kind of, that little, oh, by the way, here's a second one, because you think you were winning. Because it takes you a few tries to even get that boss down to half his hit points. And then, and you're like, at that point, you're feeling really good. You're like, oh my god, I can handle this. I think I'm going to win this. You know, you've died 3 or 4 times. And then all of a sudden, second gargoyle, this one breathes fire. Surprise. Screw you. So, here we are. And this is, as was prophesized, the first of the 2 Bells of Awakening. And one of the other neat, indirect, sort of multiplayer effects is that as you're wandering through this area, if another player in their game rings the bell, you can hear the bell ringing in the distance. So, like, other players who are playing this area right now can hear that bell ringing because I rang it. And at this point, I'm going to leave it off here at the, and call this my new official Angry Plays Dark Souls Part 1. So from this point forward, if you pick up the videos where they left off on YouTube, from here on out, you will actually be seeing my first experience with everything, completely and clueless and frustrated and dying even more often than I died tonight. So I hope you'll watch it and enjoy it. And for those of you who sat through me re-recording this, thanks a lot. I had a lot of fun, and hopefully I will see everybody soon.